Bonjour Year 7, welcome to lesson 2 of your online learning of the spring term, and I hope you enjoyed yesterday's lesson talking about free time. Today you'll be adding the reasons why you do certain activities in your free time. And here's the list of equipment that you will need for today's lesson. You will need your exercise book, a pen and a ruler, your Module 3 Knowledge Organizer, which is on class charts, and you can open in a tab. You can print this off if you haven't already. And also your sentence builder grid on slide 5. Now, if you do have a printer, you can print this off and stick it in your book. Otherwise, you might want to leave half a page to stick this in on your return to school. Thank you for uploading all your work on class charts from lesson 1. And please do remember to email me if you have any questions about the activities in this lesson. And here's my email address. So pause to get all of that ready now and press play to go on to the Do Now activity. Merci. Copiez la date mercredi 6 janvier et le titre Je fais du sport car c'est amusant. I do sport because it is fun. And underline them neatly in your book. Then on the third line, write l'objectif, the objective, and your objective today is to say why you do certain hobbies. Okay, make sure that you've written your date and title as I have in French and underlined, and you've written your objective as well. Pause to do that now. And now for your Do Now activity. This should take between 5 and 10 minutes. I want you to only write down the phrase which is the odd one out of the 3 that are given to you. And I want you to try and explain why it's the odd one out. So for example, number 1, je vais au centre commercial. Je vais au centre commercial is here. And the reason that is different to je joue au foot and je joue au basket is because both of these start with je joue au. Je joue au. And this is je vais au centre commercial. If you do finish that and you want a challenge, translate down the phrase that you wrote down, which was the odd one out. Press pause to do that now and press play to get the answers. Okay, now to check those answers. So we did this first one for you. Let's go on to number 2. Numéro 2. The odd one out is je joue avec mes amis. I play with my friends, because the difference is the first one, je joue au tennis, and je joue au foot. Both start with the je joue au, whereas this is je joue avec, I play with. The odd one out here is je fais de l'équitation, because it's je fais de L apostrophe, and these two are je fais du. And this one is the odd one out here. Il va à la campagne. He goes to the countryside, because the other two are je vais à la campagne. Je vais à la montagne. I go to the countryside. I go to the mountain. So the difference is je vais à la and il va à la. He goes. And then finally, number 5. The odd one out is je vais au centre commercial. I go to the shopping centre, because the other two are je reste chez moi. I stay at home. Or je regarde la télévision chez moi. And they both have chez moi here, meaning at home, whereas this one is actively going out to the shopping centre. Check your challenge if you wrote the English as well. Pause to do that now, and then I will pass you on to Miss Clinton and she will teach the rest of the lesson. Don't forget to take photos of your work and upload it to class charts so I can give you well-deserved achievement points. Merci, au revoir.
Okay, Year 7. So let's remind ourselves of the pronunciation of the words that we learned last lesson, which were the days of the week, including the activity. And then we'll look at the new adjectives for today's lesson to explain why we do those activities. So, please repeat after me. Le lundi, le mardi, le mercredi, le jeudi, le vendredi, le samedi, le dimanche, le week-end. Très bien. Let's have a reminder as well about the activities as well. So please again repeat after me. Pause your video if you need to do so. J'écoute de la musique. Je joue au basket. Je joue au foot. Je joue avec mes amis. Je reste chez moi. Je regarde la télévision. Je vais au centre commercial. Je vais à la campagne. Je fais du sport. Je fais de l'équitation. Je fais de la natation. Je finis mes devoirs. Très bien. So, then you, in your sentence, will need the connective and the verb to explain why you're doing those things. So, first one, again repeat after me. Casser, messer. And of course, you'll notice with most of these words, the final consonant you're not saying aloud; they're silent. Okay. Next one. So the last column now we're looking at the adjectives. Okay, over here. This column here, the adjectives. So first one again, amusant, génial, fantastique, cool, relaxant. And then on to the negative adjectives, because there we were focusing on just the positive ones. So in the final box, affreux, ennuyeux, fatigant, nul. Très bien, year 7. Okay, year 7. So, continuing with the sentence builder, we're going to have a go at faulty echo. Remember how this works? I say the sentence in French. The first time I'll say it correctly. I'll then repeat the same sentence in French. However, I will mispronounce one word. And you need to write down that mispronounced word in French in your books. Okay, so here's the first sentence. Listen carefully. This time it will be correct. You don't need to write anything for this time round. Le week-end, j'écoute de la musique car c'est génial. Okay, I'm now going to say this again. This time you need to pick up your pen and write down the word which I mispronounce. Le week-end, j'écoute de la musique car c'est génial. Pause your video now to write down the word. Okay, so you should have written down the word, highlighted in red there, génial. Okay, because I obviously mispronounced the G there. It has a soft sound, so génial. Très bien. Okay, and another sentence here. This time it will be pronounced correctly. So pens down and listen. Le vendredi, je joue au foot car c'est amusant. Pick up your pen and please write down the word that I mispronounced now. Les vendredis, je joue au foot car c'est amusant. Pause your video now to write down the mispronounced word. Okay, so you'll see there that's the sentence you heard, and of course I mispronounced le because I said le, a common mispronunciation by students there. Okay, très bien. Okay, and the final sentence here for faulty echo. Again, this time I'll say it correctly. Le lundi, je fais de l'équitation, mais c'est fatigant. Pick up your pens and write down the mispronounced word now, please. Le lundi, je fais de l'équitation, mais c'est fatigant. Pause your video now to write down the mispronounced word. And of course, I mispronounced the word there. That was the sentence you heard in l'équitation. Remember, in French, we don't have a qu sound, so it sounds more like a key, like a K. So l'équitation. Très bien. Okay, so on to activity 3, still using the sentence builder, but this time you're going to write out the whole sentence that you hear in French Year 7. I'll repeat the sentence twice for you. You'll then need to pause your video to write it down. You'll then need to, if you can use a pencil or your pen or a highlighter to underline any silent letters. Okay, so first sentence. Le dimanche, je reste chez moi car c'est relaxant. Okay, le dimanche, je reste chez moi car c'est relaxant. Pause your video now to write down the sentence and remember to underline any silent letters. Okay, so this was the sentence that you heard. Le dimanche, je reste chez moi car c'est relaxant. So, as you know in French, there are lots of silent letters. So you should have underlined this final sound here, dimanche. Okay, the H and E, it's all C-H-E really. The E of reste, you can't hear that. And chez, you can't hear that final Z. And on c'est, you can't hear the final ST. And relaxant, I would have underlined as well that final kind of NT, that T really there as well. Okay, très bien. On to next sentence. So again, listen carefully. I'll say it twice, and you need to then pause your video to write down the sentence. Le mardi, je fais de la natation, mais c'est affreux. Le mardi, je fais de la natation, mais c'est affreux. Pause your video now to write down the sentence in French that you heard. Underline the silent letters afterwards. Okay, so you heard the sentence here. Le mardi, je fais de la natation, mais c'est affreux. Okay, so again, silent letters here that you should have underlined. Fait, you can't hear the final S of fait. Natation, can't hear that final kind of N sound, natation. Mais, again, you can't hear the final S of mais. Of ST of c'est again. And affreux, again, that X, the final X, you can't hear. Très bien. Okay, and the final sentence here, so again, listen carefully. Le mercredi, je finis mes devoirs, mais c'est nul. One more time. Le mercredi, je finis mes devoirs, mais c'est nul. Pause your video now to write down your sentence in French that you heard, and then underline the silent letters again. Okay, so that was the sentence that you heard there. Le mercredi, je finis mes devoirs, mais c'est nul. Okay, so it's underlining silent letters now. Okay, so the final S, or fini. Mais, again, we can't hear the final S. Devoir, again, the final S we can't hear. And mais, again, the final S. C'est, remember we can't hear that final ST. And nous, we can hear that. Okay, très bien. Okay, so moving on to the next activity, we're going to do some dictation now. So you're going to do the same things before. You're writing down the French sentences that you hear. Of course, now you have no help with the sentence builder there. Okay, so I'll repeat the sentences twice. Remember to pause your video to write down the sentence in French in your books. Le lundi, je joue au basket car c'est amusant. Le lundi, je joue au basket car c'est amusant. Pause your video now to write down your first sentence. Numéro 2. Le mardi, je reste chez moi, mais c'est ennuyeux. Le mardi, je reste chez moi, mais c'est ennuyeux. Pause your video now to write down the sentence in French. Numéro 3. Le mercredi, je fais du sport, mais c'est affreux. Le mercredi, je fais du sport, mais c'est affreux. Et numéro 4, le jeudi, je vais au centre commercial car c'est génial. Le jeudi, je vais au centre commercial car c'est génial. Pause your video to write it down. Okay, so now let's check through your answers. Remember to pause your video if you need to make any changes to your sentences regarding spellings or accents. So number 1 was le lundi, je joue au basket car c'est amusant. Numéro 2, le mardi, je reste chez moi, mais c'est ennuyeux. Numéro 3, le mercredi, je fais du sport, mais c'est affreux. Remembering you've got double F there in affreux. Okay, yeah. Numéro 4, le jeudi, je vais au centre commercial car c'est génial. And again, you must remember you've got your accent on your E there. Okay, you're now going to translate those sentences into English in your books. Pause your video now to do this. So let's go through the answers. Of course, number 1, you should have written, on Mondays, I play basketball because it is fun. Number 2 was, on Tuesdays, I stay at home, but it is boring. Number 3, on Wednesdays, I do sport, but it is awful. Number 4, on Thursdays, I go to the shopping centre because it is brilliant. So make any changes now if you need to. And on to the final activity now, Year 7. So you're going to use the grid below to help you translate the paragraph on the right into French. You only need to write the French, you don't need to write down the English. Okay, so all the words you need there are on the left-hand side, obviously not in the correct order. So pause your video now to translate the English paragraphs on the right. Check through your paragraph now. It's written in French underneath in red. Pause your video now if you need to make any changes. Please correct any spellings or add any accents if you may need to.
Well done, Year 7. Excellent work today. Please now upload photos of your work onto class charts so that I can give you a very well-deserved achievement point. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Merci, au revoir.